one. I was pretty bored, saw this in the war chest, and I skipped over and I said, that's not fair. If somebody gives me the funds for something and I overlook it or don't talk about it or don't dialogue with it, then I literally did them a disservice because I knowingly chose to overlook the conversation. And that would actually be cheating, even though sometimes I'd be like, I really don't want to do that. However, I have to honor that of the what the people want. So it literally comes to my direction of the talk. And it's a simple discussion that I am taking in and looking at, especially when it comes to this space or literally the climate of society of what happened, what's going on. Did the simp protect his community or allow it to be destroyed? Now we hear this a lot from a lot of people. We hear this from I've been hearing this lately from pieces on from women and saying that lately that nobody has been protecting um that women have been saying that there's no protection. And then you also have men who are saying that literally um men who are saying that, hey, yeah, men are out there protecting, while other people are saying that, nah, like nobody's holding these people accountable. Nobody's holding these people accountable. So I am looking at it and I'm trying to find out, it's a fair question to ask. Did the did the simp protect the community? Like we always hear that, hey, that there always been men out there fighting and riding out to protect women. This has always been something I've always heard spoken out and about. But then on the other side, I'm hearing that no, like these men are not protecting the community. These women are out here being attacked, beat up, um, uh, pillaged, and raped, and all this other stuff. And I'm curious about the talking points right now. I'm curious, like which one is it? I'm seeing different pieces come out saying that um, men men did it. Men are the reason why these women aren't safe. And I would say, okay, yes, there are more men out there. Men can overpower a woman. Men can also dominate and do whatever they want. But in the same stance and the same talking point, then honestly, because when I look at this talking point, and I honestly I'm trying to derive it. Sometimes I'm just sitting here, what I'm saying, just smoking my ganja, and I take into the account that, well, I don't know. It's a double edged sword. For as long as I know, and I've always known men to just be around and running up and doing things and getting with certain type of women and you know and taking either being taken advantage of and as well as don't mind being taken advantage of the certain situation. This is a common calculation of human nature. Then you have it where some men, because they were raised in certain households, they empathetically go after certain type of women because that's the climate of women that they feel more familiar with or dealing with, uh, and that plays a big factor. It plays a real big factor. As long as I've been growing up and I've been raised around and seeing certain type of like I said, I can't talk about what goes on in other communities. I don't live there. I know what goes on in my community. I know what goes on as well as in the black community. And like I said, the more the more I will see a female or woman out there half naked or something, dressed a certain type of way. Yeah, yeah. She would either be out there, um, you know, doing whatever she do, and certain men could also take part, or either have sex with her, or literally she'll have those type of cousins. I live in the South, so getting or being around a woman that had access to certain type of men, then it is what it is. I'm being honest. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm never gonna say, well, men need to run out there and go protect all women. That's a lie. I've seen plenty of men unjustly killed, or dead for that. I'm sorry. I don't care how people feel about that. That's like me making a comment or the statement that women should have sex with all men, regardless if they are sexually ungratified. That those men should have direct access to women's vagina. I won't ever say that, because literally that would be a bold face and bullshit ass assessment. Some people say, "Oh, hell no." Well, protection costs. Yes, it does. It's not just given out. It's not just given out fairly. You know, but you'll also have it where some women believe that no matter what, I should be honor bound to be protected, no matter what. And there are some men who believe no matter what the woman does, no matter what she says, no matter how she acts, that that she should be given that type of access. If she dresses a certain type of way, or she acts scantily, or she comes off with a certain type of demeanor, regardless of all that, that woman still deserves the golly right, to be treated a certain type of way. And I say that's a fool's errand. That's a fool's errand. Women have known this from the dawn of time. We can pull this up in history, that women know how to manipulate. If you want to get a job done, send a woman in. If you want to sneak into the enemy base, you would send a woman into the enemy base. She's perfect. This is the old tactic from Samson. The Philistines knew they couldn't beat Samson with brute strength. They couldn't outsmart him. So who did they send? They sent a woman. And as strong as Samson was, guess what? He kept on chancing it with the woman. I'm sorry if I'm not. I don't randomly just hand out protection. That's stupid. I don't care what a woman may say. I just don't randomly do that. That's just foolhardy. I got too much stuff going for my life. I'm not just going to do that, and I wouldn't tell any man just to readily just go do that. You have to make that assessment, piece by piece. You'll have some women that will tell you, "Well, you this or that, or you might be gay," and I'll be like, "Well, that's that. Okay, whatever. That's you. I'm not changing. I'm not changing for my dialogue. This is the proclivity of what's been going on for a long time, and we watch this in movies, we watch this in TV shows, we watch this in all kind of stuff in theater, a lot of different stuff. I'm good. We have to act. I'm very curious about this, because what I'm saying, like, we're hearing about the protection piece. We're hearing about the contention that literally that was it the fault that simps, as they want to call it, and simps are men who are um what I'm saying, men who are simply they're just attracted to, I guess they call it, mediocre pussy. In other words, it would be a woman who's not like of a certain type of merit, which what I'm saying, let's be honest. Most types of guys will go if they can get easy access to pussy, they'll take it. If a man can get easy access to pussy, he's going to take the shot. He's gonna get a fuck. I know women don't like to think that, but then again, it's like women say, "Well, I can use my sexuality to get what I want." Okay, cool. Men have to use other tools and other tricks to get access to pussy. This has been this is the Bible of the man. This is what we follow by. Some men do not have to provide that. Some men will never challenge to do that. This is why the talking point of why some women talk about getting with older men. They feel like they'll have access towards the protection piece. They feel like they will. And I say nay. I do not agree with that. You'll be set like a child. You'll be demeaned, but you won't always get the protection. This is why I always find it interesting where, what I'm saying, when I always find it interesting when a woman will want to say like stuff like daddy or stuff like that. And it always just felt like an unease to it. Like she was trying to get back at something or trying to assess something that has long since been gone. I never could understand that. It was a very uneasy feel. Have you ever had it where a woman has called you daddy? And I was like, well, why'd you call me that? I thought that was sexy. Wait, so you think your daddy is sexy? Well, I like calling you daddy or poppy, and I'm like, no, no, girl, I ain't your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why do you want to be called that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or daddy, slut, or some kind of, it always be some weird fetish type of thing. And I'd be like, did you have a daddy in your life? Did you ever tell, like, what was going on? What really was happening? But then you started having certain type of men. Yeah, you started having certain type of men that, regardless of whatever interaction that they would get in with a woman, they would still have the discussion that, hey, that this woman is God. This woman can do no wrong. And I'll be like, no, I never said any woman was God. I never wanted I always find it interesting when people start putting people on certain type of hierarchies, a promotion. Like yeah, like I always wondered about that. Like, when it came to, calling daddy or, queen, or I don't like that stuff. I'm like, well, she's a queen or she's a god. I don't. I always wonder, like, why are you saying that? What's going on? What's happening here? Are we like what are you in charge of? I never wanted to play that pretentious role or step into that type of contingency. But then we start hearing the talking points that, well, other groups of men are protecting their women. This is something that was always brought out and always thrown at a lot of men. Other groups of men are protecting their women. And I said, really? Yeah. Y'all men don't protect y'all women. And I would always hear, like, well, dang, like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go fight a dragon? And am I supposed to go out there and go start, like, randomly, like, pretending to be Frank Castle and, being a Punisher and delivering justice for, like, random women? Like, what is that these other men are doing that I don't know that they're doing? My parents always told me the quick, majority of fights propagated are that of another man saying, "Hey, don't talk to my girl." How many men, how many stories have we done where literally another dude will possibly beat or kill another man just for the simple dialogue? of talking to a woman. Don't talk about my mama like that. Okay. Your mama does crack. Hey, you can't say that. Well, but she does do crack. Hey, I see that. You know, and I always wondered the pretension of that. You will see more so arguments and fights and possibly even death for that of the proclamation and claim for vagina. It was always interesting. I always tell men, are you willing to die for pussy that's not yours? Are you willing to die for pussy that's not yours? Have you been in that situation? How many men can we honestly say have literally cast or thrown their life aside, sit in incarceration, jail, hospital for the protection piece for sex or because a woman told them so? I wonder. And I always, in the question you had to ask was it worth it? You know what I'm saying? You got to ask the question: how many women? How many? I would honestly ask the question if it was on the reversal: how many women have gotten into a fight or died, killed, versus the opposite for men? You see, when you honestly look at it and look at the mark of history, the mark of statistics, the mark of what literally is the proclamation, because you see, you have to take into account that women have always been looked at as a resource. Sorry, no matter what, no matter. Listen, I have to be honest, and I got to be really honest. This, like I said, this is men's. This is the lads' time to talk. This is the men's time to talk on this one. We honestly can take into account that literally women are a resource. That's honest. I know some people don't like to hear that, but women are a resource. That's all. That's keeping it simple. Without laws, without rules, honestly, what leverage does a woman have equal to a man? Your vagina, bringing life. What else can you do? Count money? Well, men can count money too. What is the equivalent? I guess make people happy. You know, I'm opening up the statement about that because honestly, it's now being called to order. Aside from being able to carry life, and no offense, but now we have it where shit. I mean, I'll never forget the piece where it was a piece on YouTube, whereas to a woman, she was unable to carry children. She was unable to do it. So what went on to happen was her husband and her raised the money to get an incubator. They went and got an incubator. So they had an incubator birth. Yes, I know it cost them money. But literally, she was like, science has come so far that they found a way to recreate the womb. And I know a lot of people say, oh, heck no, like BMT, don't tell me you're going that route. But I'm like, no, I am literally bringing forth that of what is literally how science is coming. I'm no matter what. Here's the reality of the matter. See, we can recreate and trick the womb. But one thing that science has not been able to do, they need sperm. They need the seed. Well, you got a lot of stuff in the background. I'm gonna let him mute up while he gets all that done going. You know, just mute him while he's doing that. And so we're now here at this pretentious of literally the simp. Now, for some of y'all, if y'all don't know what a simp is, let's go ahead and look that up. I want to go ahead and pull up what is a simp. That's a fair question to ask. I feel like a lot of people deserve to know. Some people don't know. Now, this has been a question that a lot of people have wondered about. A lot of people have taken into contingency of saying that, hey, I don't really believe that it can be that bad. And I said that might be true. Okay, so literally, simp, a silly or foolish person. Now, I've never heard of a female simp. Is there even a female simp? Simp is an internet slang for describing a person who performs excessive sympathy and attention toward another person, sometimes in pursuit of a sexual relationship. Urban defines a simp as someone who does way too much for a person they like. Now, that is a simp. Thank you, Google. Now, of course, they don't want to say, I guess now because Google has has gone so PC, they literally do not want to conform because it has gone to the placement that men have become more emotional, excuse me. They become more irrational, more erratic for that of sexual or not even sexual, but just coherent access to pussy. Now I've never seen no. I mean, I'm still I will wait till we start seeing. I've never seen a gay simp before. I'm pretty sure they're out there. I am pretty sure there's a gay simp out there somewhere. Somehow, I am pretty sure there's a gay simp out there. But right now, we are going to look at the simp, the one that chases for sexual gratification, that chases after women. The one that does not mind putting it on the line to have access, regardless of if it may cost them their life. The one that might actually say, hey, if you disrespect certain type of woman, I'll have to kill you. Now, let me go ahead. I will go ahead and grab this. I want to go ahead and grab this. This is something that was very interesting. This is something that was very interesting. Um, and I want to know because honestly, it's very interesting when it comes to that. I'm talking about the simp. I'm not sure if Trill is ready. Trill, are you ready?
Yeah, I thought you had me unmuted
No,
or had me muted.
no. Well, I know you had. I know you was doing something. I know I couldn't hear you. Now, Triller, we are sitting down as two men,
Yes,
two
sir.
men, discussing that of something that was brought before us. The question is, did the simp protect his community or allow it to be destroyed? Now, you know what a simp is, correct?
I have a vague understanding from some of the areas you've taken me.
Now, okay, so thank you. Now, have you ever heard of it spoken about in other? areas or ever, or just in the areas I've taken you?
Uh, Only in the areas you've taken me. The only other term I've ever heard that's close to that is the term gimp, but that's a totally different term.
Dang, I know what a gimp is. Okay, so it's not a
It's not
it's
a universally used term in all areas in all walks of life.
right. It's definitely used. It's definitely used in the um African American community more so. It's definitely, and it's also used more. It's also used in the digital world, what we call people who are struggling with interaction to vagina, and they literally, regardless of their health or their whatever things that may come of it, um, it's just pretty much the downplay of anybody that is doing way too much for pussy. Um, Let me go ahead and pull it up. Because honestly, I think this is also called to attention that I said this one time, long time ago, that chivalry is just about dead.
Oh,
It's
for
it's
sure.
like chivalry. It's fair to say chivalry is dead. You know. Now, simp right here. Someone who
It,
does way too much for a person they like. Brian Shu the simp. I brought her a car, a whole ass house, and we're not even dating.
I like how they choose to use Brian.
I can't make this up. like they, now, right now.
It makes me want to slap, dude. It straight makes me want to slap the Urban Dictionary.
I don't do this stuff. They do it, man. I don't do this stuff, man. They do it. What's your thoughts on do you think that's wise for a man to do stuff such as pay a woman or pay for a woman's rent, groceries, different other stuff, but look for nothing back or look for no type of access or hey,
I
like,
don't.
go ahead.
I don't think it's productive or conducive to a healthy relationship.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I think that it helps propagate this whole um, mentality that men only have value if they have material things or financial success. You know what I mean? Rather than pushing for men and women to actually interact with each other and find things that they have in common and build a relationship off of that.
Mm. Now, now we have to, let's ask the question.
And I only say this because, look, technically, according to what this says, which fuck the Urban Dictionary for using my name,
Hmm.
I've done that before, you know, and didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And it never really ends well. It ends with one person being broke and another person having all of another person's basically assets.
Now, because see, I've been there before where, I've had a woman say, hey, can I borrow like $40? I promise to pay you back for like payday. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I've done that. I've been there. But in doing that, and then the person will come back again and say, hey, can I borrow $60? And I'm like, wait,
Right.
you just asked for money last time and you
I
didn't
still ain't got paid back yet.
right, you still ain't pay me back. Oh, come on. Like, so you only
But
did that so you can get access to this pussy.
right, remember I let you rail me out real good the other night.
So the question is, first off, should men do should men do stuff for women without looking for anything in return, or literally that's pretty much pig minded and toxic the word toxic masculinity, it just always felt bad to me. It just always felt bad. It just always felt bad.
Hey,
Like, it just always felt bad because it seems like if a man is looking for something back in return, then literally that's the cardinal sin. Like, you should just do things just to do it because you're a man.
But it seems like it's what okay by with society for women to expect something in how do I want to phrase this? They want something prior to actually giving something up most generally, you know?
Right. The question, because here's the thing to take into a question. If when I hear this is my rebuttal. One time when I heard when women say women deserve protection. And I said, well, does that so if I say men deserve sexual access at all time, wait, that makes no sense. Wait, why not? If you deserve protection, I mean, unless I have some type of affinity of loyalty to you, and I mean, I literally, and I'm being honest, y'all. I'm not listen.
Right.
Listen,
You're asking what reason are you giving me to protect you?
right. If you're my child, if you're my woman, my wife, if you're somebody who's near and dear to me,
That's a reason.
that's a reason. That's a reason because you're under my household.
Just because you have a vagina is no reason. Just because you're a woman is no reason. You know, men have no obligation to defend every freaking woman out there on the street. Period. Plain and simple.
But now, what if that's out there where they say, listen, there is no protection. There is no such thing as protection. Now, question. Now, this is something that was told to me that other groups of men protect their women without no question.
False. I know from the white community that's false.
I listen. I know from all them other damn communities. I know that's a damn lie. Like y'all better,
For real.
y'all don't want to go to the Philippines or the Latin. Hell, god dang it, they be damn trafficking. Yeah, listen.
Well, Christ, for instance.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, for a perfect example, I watched a bunch of grown ass men watch my dad beat the shit out of my mom until she was in the hospital. Nobody stepped up to protect her. They let him beat shit out of her right out in the open in front of everybody.
Now, the question that comes apart in these things, in these talking points, is literally that. But I always hear it's the shaming language. Now I always hear it's the shaming language that literally you're just not men. Now, in hearing this, we're going to go ahead and break out the tomes. They have tomes for this is the proclamation to be a man. Constantly throws other men under the bus. Always there to comfort your girlfriend when y'all argue. Will do anything.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Constantly throws other men under the bus. That's the first statement. And don't worry, we'll break down each one on the validity. Always there to comfort your girlfriend when y'all argue. Will do anything for women. Always agrees with whatever women say. Super thirsty. Does anything for some pussy. And does not care to have sex with a woman. And I think the last one is pretty much women are always right.
And what's this the definition of?
That is the attributes of a simp. First off,
Lord, son.
So let's ask the first thing. How do you feel about a man being a feminist?
It depends on. Well, first off, we have to first define what feminism is.
So, do you want to pull up a definition for? You think we should pull up the definition for feminism?
Well, it depends on what definition you want to pull up from the internet. There's multiple.
Oh God, let's go with you. If you want to pull up a definition, I'll screen share it. God dang it.
I'm on my phone right now. Otherwise, I would.
Okay. Now, literally, first off,
but I think it's only fair with feminism. We have to first define and agree on what feminism is first.
You see that to me, for me,
like the wife said, BMT. She just Said
No,
there's truth.
I hear Mrs. Triller, but I know, like I said, but see,
Well,
I
she
don't have.
says there's true feminism and then today's feminism.
Okay, can you there's true feminism, and we will have to do a piece on that. Me and you will have to take a piece on that about what true feminism and feminism, because honestly, I don't know anymore what, like, I'm telling y'all right now. Listen, no, if a woman has a man, she's not going to be akin to her man running out there protecting every old goddamn woman.
Hell no, she ain't. My
Like
wife
that's
would beat my ass if I tried some shit like that.
that's gonna. I'm trying to tell y'all, like, if a woman, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I hear the talking points of that men are, if you have it where women will tell other men and their sons that if they see another woman in jeopardy, don't get involved. Now, do you feel like that's a lie or that's a true statement?
That's a true statement. The only other woman that my wife was, there was only two other women, like women. I'm not talking my children, but
Right,
women that my wife didn't have a problem with me getting involved with something being done to them. That was my mom
right.
and my younger two kids' mom. You know, she didn't have a problem with me stepping up when we found out that the kids' mom's boyfriend was actually abusing physically and verbally their mother in front of the kids. And the only reason why she didn't have a problem with it is because he was doing it in front of my kids.
Right, right. That I would agree to that. Like, the thing about it is, one, I always tell most men, listen, don't ever spend money on a woman if you can barely take care of yourself. Well, you know what? She needs no. I don't do that.
You would think that would be common sense.
It's not. It's not. Sally, it's not. I don't I don't agree with that. I think that is stupid. I think that most, when I hear people, I tell men to stay away from women who are very materialistic, very materialistic. Like when they're having certain conversations about, calling men all kind of names and dusties and all this other stuff. I don't try to entertain or try to say, hey, you as a man are failing because you're not doing this. There's this talking point that men have failed because they let other men dominate them. They let other men dominate them. And I'm like, well, what do you mean that other men dominate them? Well, this is a crazy thing. That I, as a man, if another man see another woman being disrespected, I should comfort her regardless of whatever the situation is.
Okay, so I got the definition that I can read to you of
Go ahead.
feminism.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, hold on one second. We have the definition, which comes from dictionary.com, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of sexes. Then we
Mm-hmm.
have the political ideology of feminism,
Mm.
which is feminism is a range of social movements, political movements, and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes.
Mm.
You know, so there's two there. That's a pretty big difference just in the political ideology and the definition.
It is. That truly is. Um, it's going to be rough, man, because honestly, the one thing about it, first off, listen, man. Um, as far as just being that comforter for a woman just because she's having a mental or something like that, like literally, that's a case by case. Because I'm being so serious. Like, listen, if you got mental problems, hey, listen, I get that. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. But other than that, if I'm not going to just hear you out if you don't hear me out,
Right.
I, I think that's very foolish. If it's something where it's only like, and I've heard a man say, well, my woman gets whatever she wants. You know, it's not what I want. It's just whatever she wants.
That's
And
not
I'm
healthy or conducive.
yeah, but
There has
you
to be some kind of common ground. You know, you have to be able to what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with a C.
can do no. God dang, I do. I gotta look up
You
the word.
know, you know,
Excuse us.
basically.
We ain't get we our words are leaving us today.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
No, don't worry about it. You know, we're men. We
Right, compromise. You got to be able to compromise with each other. You know, there's going to be things that you want to do that she may not necessarily want to do, or things that you would like to have in the house, or things that you want ways you want things done in the house that she may not like, and vice versa. It's all about compromise.
mm, mm. Um, I'll
I
give
know
men a
compromise is a term that's been kind of being pulled from society in general because we're now being taught not to compromise with anybody, let alone the people we live with.
I think that's bullshit because literally everybody should have a level of compromise, especially when it comes towards this. Now, now one of the talking points is that hey, um, young men raised by women with no fathers usually end up becoming thugs, hoodlums, uh, detriments to society, and
Men who are raised by single moms without fathers. Is that what you
yes,
said? Okay,
yes,
continue on.
they are more so thugs, hoodlums, detriments to society. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, they pretty much just become like the banes of just the death of everything. Like
Well,
they
before I give my opinion, I would like to hear your opinion because you grew up with both your mom and dad.
not always, not always. And then hell, even with the man in the house, you know, and this is like no disrespect to him, but my dad wasn't always the best dad. He
Right, but
had
what I'm saying is you still grew up with your parents married, correct?
yeah, for a good part of my life, yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So I would prefer you to answer that being a child that grew up with a married with his mom and dad stay together before you ask me a child that grew up with a mom and a dad who never came around and a poor excuse as a role model for a stepdad.
Okay, all right, so that's fair. As far as I know, growing up with two parents, I still got in I did have somewhat of a guiding post. I did have a guiding post from my father. I won't he has taught me many things. I did notice that I did notice a vast difference of the young boys who were growing up with a father like myself versus those who did not have a dad and how they went about. Some of them were very unruly and hard to check because as they got older, they it's like you couldn't really do nothing to them. You couldn't check them. Um, versus you stepped out of line. Listen, my dad had no problem punching you in your face. My dad had no problem getting in the ass. But then um, I also had this type of disdainment that was growing up in me. As far as I know, yes, I am for a two parent household. I've always been that way. And I do see the validity in it of why it's important. But I also understand that there's a lot of narratives that do not get talked about. That literally just having two parents. Sometimes I literally and I'm not gonna lie. I have told my mom sometimes like, yo, like maybe we don't need dad. You know,
Right.
like maybe we don't need dad right now. And she'll look at me crazy and say, "Don't say that out loud." But I'll be like, where's I wrong? Like, where's I wrong? Because as you get older, you know, I'll be like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Versus some children that I knew that were growing up with their mom and they had a toxic or very disastrous parent like their mother. Listen, she like that was some crazy stuff I've seen some young boys how they were with their mother. Um, either she was he was a king, she was the world, and pretty much, you know what? Um, it was just a very it was like a very type of relationship. Like you sometimes think that some of these men, their mom was their wife.
Right.
I it was a very interesting thing to watch. I'm not sure if you ever seen a woman say that my son is my man or some
Yes.
shit like that, and I'd be like,
Yes, I
what?
have.
I was like, wait.
Yeah.
I was like, excuse me, like how?
Give you that weird EBGB feeling.
Right, and I really was kind of lost by it.
Like
But
what
I was
kind of shit
like,
you guys got going on behind closed doors?
right, like when you cry, and mind you, this is one time, like the woman cried. I'll never forget this. The woman cried. The woman. Okay, I was playing the Nintendo 64 with my friend. His mom came home crying and laid on the couch and laid down her
With her
head.
head in her set and head in her son's lap.
Right. It was like, what the hell am I watching? And
Right. What kind?
Dude,
Yeah. What in the heck in taboo porn did just happened right here?
dude, he was like, dude, you might have to go. I gotta come from my mom. And I was like, the fuck? Like, I was like, I just left.
And it made you want to chalk that friendship. Probably like, I don't know if I want to be a part of that.
I get my friend had Mario Kart, but I was like not willing to go back after that day. I was like, nope, never talked about it, never brought it up. I just was like, he was like, hey man, are you okay? I'm like, are you okay? Like, the fuck was all that? But listen, if I know one thing, he had gotten in so many fights. If you ever said anything about his mom, like literally, he's even gotten close to expulsion. Like, if anybody say anything about his mom, like he would get into fights. Like,
right.
And the thing about it was, I've overheard my dad say things about his mom, and he would get upset, like, don't ever say stuff about my mom. And like my dad would laugh, like, son, I would break your neck. Like, your mom is a doorknob. And I was like, Dad, you can't say that.
Now, well, one thing I will say is, in the white community, we do take, the putting down of a young man's mom as a personal slam. That's something that most white boys, they do stand up for their mom. They're willing to fight over that.
Right. I think that's a universal thing. Now go ahead. So I see.
But as far as what you were saying with, men that grow up as children and with, a separated home. First, I do want to say I agree that a child has a far better upbringing, a far better understanding of reality, what home life is, what a relationship and marriage is supposed to look like, and how to actually how to interact with other people being in a two-parent home with mom and dad both living there. Now, where I find that there's a difference in whether or not a kid is going to, or a man in particular, is going to grow up and be a troublemaker or a thug or a drug dealer or a drug addict or just a basic drag on society, it all depends on each individual, personal experience. And you kind of touched on it. Do you have two parents that, even though they're separated, they co-parent still? That they get along and they both parent their kids together, because that does make a difference if the parents get along separated as opposed to if they're fighting all the time with each other separated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you got a mom or a dad who is constantly dogging on the other and making this young boy pick and choose and decide who he loves more or less, then yes, that is going to cause all kinds of mental issues. Which in turn is going to cause, as he gets older, more problems with life, because chances are nobody's going to actually address those mental issues he has that have been, inflicted on him by his father and mother. So I think it's a matter of each individual experience, but I would say that it's safe to say that the majority, we'll say, like a 60-40 split, to be fair, the majority of men who grow up in single parent households do have some kind of social issues and have a general, more of a general lack of respect for authority and authority figures. And not only that, they also end up having a hard time being fathers and holding together a healthy relationship.
Mm,
And I think a lot of that will comes back to what you were talking about with your one friend that you just brought up.
right.
Because then these men are out trying to find their mother and never find her in another woman.
Mm. That is so true. I always find that very interesting because uh, the and I will do a piece on the war between me and my mother. I will do a piece on that one. Um, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that literally goes on. Like there's a lot of stuff that happened that literally does not um, properly get assessed or dealt with properly. Um, I can honestly say that hey, a good portion a good portion of people, especially for men, we're just dealing with the men, but I don't know too many women that have it as bad as them. I mean, women got the whole assortment of issues enough with you know what I'm saying. But as far as it goes for men, like a lot of them, as far as it goes for doing things for that of access for pussy, that's just been an abominable thing since the dawn of time. Like
Yeah,
that
that's a tool that they have to use,
you know, uh,
and,
was
and that's just something the men have to deal with. That is a tool that they was given that they can use, and they use it well.
right now. What's frowned upon is that when it's asked about, you know, uh, paying or doing certain things in return for access to pussy, which would be called
That's
tricking or
or prostitution.
prostitution. Yeah, that's a good word to use it. Now,
A
um,
woman don't like to be called a hoe, but or a prostitute, but they want to have gifts or money in return for giving up that netting. you
so
know Yet
right.
they don't want to be labeled the label that comes with being paid basically to lay down with a man.
So now the thing about it is like, and I had an argument with it. I had an argument with a soldier one time. He and he really believed. He said, "Hey man, like there was this girl at Buffalo Wild Wings that literally she would ask him for money, and I would be like, don't do it, dude. Yeah, but she's going through a hard time, and I'm like, dude, you think you're the only guy? There's other guys that she has. Listen, man, like I just want to help her. And I would get angry and frustrated because he, regardless of whatever the situation, he would always come to the rescue. And I said, and you know the thing about that really burned, that really stung, was when I said, why don't you I'll tell you what, why don't you ask her out on a double date? Why don't we ask her on a double date? What's going on, Sir Anthony? I said, why don't you ask her on a double date? She says, I like you, but I see you as a friend, as a really good friend, like my brother. And he said, that's fine. He said, that's fine. You know, I don't mind being your friend. And I was like, dude, you're you're like I'm like, friends don't do what you're doing like that. Friends don't do that. You're playing the role of a man, but you're not her man.
Friends with benefits, only she's the only one benefiting.
Do you think that's a destructive? Do you think that has caused a lot of grief for men, or literally men should feel honored to doing things for women, regardless of receiving anything back? But I'm the type of person like, listen, man, I'm not gonna sit on no fucking phone and listen to no woman prattle on and on. I believe my time is money, and my time is
Right.
valuable. I'm just being honest. Call it a dick move or not, or call me masculine. as shit, but that's what you got girlfriends for. So I don't sit there and entertain um women chatter for very long. It's just not my forte.
I think that shit has caused a lot of animus between men and women.
Ooh, that's a good word. What do you? Why would you say that, brother?
Because men are starting to well, you got to look at today's day and age. Men are starting to feel as though all they are is a glorified ATM machine.
Mm.
What do you have to offer me? But don't ask anything back in return from me, type shit. And that happens a lot. Whether or not men or women want to agree with that, it does happen an awful lot in today's society. We have a generation of women who think that they can take and take and take and take and not give anything back in return. And if you ask anything back in return, mainly when it comes to the talking point of sex or sexual relations or any kind of sexual gratification, it becomes, like you said, toxic masculinity, or misogyny, or you're trying to assert your authority over me, or you're objectifying me type shit. Well, what are you doing to me if you're asking me for financial and monetary things, but I'm not getting anything in return but a thank you and a friendship?
When it comes to us as brothers, as men, because when I hear a woman says treat me like the fellas, I look at her crazy. I'm like, there's no way. I don't play that game. I don't play that game with treating a woman like the fellas, because that's immaculately impossible. Like, how? Because see,
they're not one of the fellas
regardless, right? Like, when, like, for me and Trailer, like, we starting to grow. It's fair to say, like, we've grown close. So I can consider. So when I call
I can agree with
Trailer,
that,
like,
man.
so like I could say, like, Trailer's my brother. He's like he like I fucks with him heavy. Like, I like this man. Like, I invite him over to come chill and sit with the family.
I respect and value your opinion and things, and I look at you and your family as like my family. I would do for them like I would do for my own.
So the protection piece of if his woman was in some type of threat, or his children, I could understand. Hey, I'm not looking for no account of, well, because I did this for your woman, I need acts. No, because he's my brother. That comes with the clause of,
yeah, that's part of the territory and the agreement of, we're family. Family
right.
looks out for family.
Now we're flipping this now towards a woman. Now this is the hypocrisy where I always tell, when some guys say, nah, like, she's like the fellas, like, it's impossible. Because when a woman starts to grow and actually start to be like one of the fellas, men naturally are going to start getting attracted to her.
Exactly. A woman will never be one of the fellas, because there will always be that one thing that separates us, and that's the fact that she has something that you want.
Mm. It's just that's why I said this is the law. Not this. This is the law of nature. Maybe we need to start doing segments called the nature of men, because honestly, I feel like it's dying, or it's being lost. Like,
I don't know if it's dying, but it's definitely being forced out of society.
that's fair to say. That is fair. I when I look at it, and I'm saying this, Trailer, that when we take into account that, hey man, like, right now, for you to show some type, for you to be show some type of chauvinistic behavior. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's pretty nice. It's fair to say that would be, well, he's trying to assert his toxic masculine ways on women.
Basically trying to show dominance.
But is that not the account of being a man?
Well,
That
you can't ask a man to be the protector, the provider, and the leader of the house and expect him to have feminine qualities in himself.
right, because listen, man, when if a girl says, "Hey, let's just go hang out as friends," I can't drop. Or I thou as a man, I cannot, or Trailer cannot. We cannot drop our masculinity at no point.
Uh, Absolutely not. And not only that, being a married man, because I know that I can't do that, I wouldn't go out and hang out with just another woman as a friend
Mm.
unless it's someone that I consider family. Because now, like you said, we're talking something different.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, now, here's the thing about it. The simp will not mind going out with a woman. Say this is my bestie or some shit, some stuff like that. Not to say, I guess, for some people, I guess they can have, to me, I'm being for real. I never had a female bestie. I don't know what the fuck that is. Because
No,
if I say we got to go move some shit or do some manly shit, I'm sorry. I need somebody I can throw an M4 or M16 to, and we can go. I'm not worried about Triller. I'm not
yeah, I
worried
need to
about
know your back. I need to know your back's not going to give out on me.
right. I need to know if I say move the couch. Oh wait, let me call my brother. No, no, no. I called upon you. Damn it! I didn't call upon your brother. See, this is where it starts to like mix it. And I know some people don't like us saying like this, but see, this is where it starts to hit. Like I was trying to watch this movie. With the old lady, and in the movie, the ladies that were watching the movie with me, the girls wanted to come around and watch the damn movie, and I was trying to watch it. And then they had this chick there in the movie, and she was a soldier also, and she was like, I guess now you have it where the women are now the fucking leaders of the fucking goddamn of like squads and shit of rangers and special forces and shit. And I'm like, first of all, how? But I don't want to get. We'll have to do a piece on how the fuck are women being put in these masculine roles to like fight armies of ninjas and shit.
All I
And
got to say is Demi Moore and G.I. Jane.
You know what? There were so many things. There are so many things that one day we're gonna have to pick apart that damn movie. Because
Yep.
honestly, I listen.
It
There's
gave
men.
unrealistic expectations to women and girls.
I'm like, yo, dude. Like honestly, I enjoyed the Master Chief when he was railing her through Sears training. But then all of a sudden, some people start feeling uncomfortable because the dudes were like, "You're a real fucking hero, man, beating up on a woman, dude." And I was like,
Yep. You always got them, as you said, simps that, got to feel some type of way about it.
I was like, wait, she's going through a man's training regiment that where they're supposed to beat your ass and fuck you up. Now
Right.
y'all getting mad because he put his hands on a woman.
You think the enemy's not going to put their hands on a woman?
That's the first rule to combat is to find the weakest link, which I'm sorry, that's going to be your female, and you're going to torture the shit out of her.
Because first off, just physically, you're dominant as a man.
Mm.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are them 2% of women that could physically probably beat the shit out of some men. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the majority.
And don't y'all try that Ronda Rousey shit. But I'm just gonna let y'all know. Listen,
I watched her get her ass beat by a girl half her size in the ring.
Right, and listen, let's just be honest, bro. We're seeing a lot of different the Transformers. They're starting to go into female sports, and I'm telling you right now, keep that same energy when one of them goes towards Ronda Rousey and fights her. Y'all gonna be like, damn.
Watch and see when somebody whose body structure is built entirely different than a woman's body structure trying to pretend to be a woman wreak havoc on that woman. because that's what's
Okay.
going to happen. They're going to absolutely dominate.
Okay.
I mean, we've seen it already. What was it that remember there was that article about that black transgender girl. I think it was out in California. They allowed her to play girls, be on the girls track and field team.
She does.
Remember this? This was a few years ago. And when he or she or whatever you want to, when they were on the boys track and field team, they
They weren't the best.
they didn't even ever
Right.
medal at all. They did but once they got on the girls track and field team, because all they did was put
Shit.
on a skirt, he dominated and started breaking records.
Shit. He was like Princess Diana or some shit, or just couldn't stop. But however, you had certain people who said, "Hey, what's the problem? That's fine. Like they should be
But
allowed." And I'm like, "Oh, there goes that Simp card being going in overdrive." Like, dude, you're not gonna like how this plays out. You know what I'm saying? And then it came to the point where, well, men, why are y'all biasly judging this person? I'm like, listen,
well, you know what, B? It almost makes me wonder if this toxic masculinity and man hate culture that we have, where men are supposed to be, effeminate and be beta as opposed to alpha, isn't the reason why we see more and more men switching to dressing like and acting like women.
I
If
feel
it
like
isn't, if,
well, here's the thing about Trailer. If you're sucking at being a man, just go to the women's sport. If you're sucking at winning, just go to being a woman's sport. That's
well, I think
honestly what
it,
I'm saying.
and I think it goes beyond that. I think it's more of a fight or flight thing now that's going on with some of these men. They're tired of being attacked, so if they become women, they no longer will be attacked because they can't be gendered
Mm,
in that category, and they can't be attacked as straight white men or straight black men.
right. Like it's like I'm telling y'all right now, man. Some people are going to start like the here's the thing about it, and I always say this. The simp clause has unrealistically set up certain standards that when y'all say where are the men are going to be like, hell no, not unless something is paid towards the tribute. Well, men don't question protecting women. That's a fucking lie.
That is a
That's,
goddamn lie.
that's a lie.
They don't question protecting specific
Specific
women
women.
specific to them.
Right. I always, when I hear the piece about protecting women, I always say, well, shit, well, it's crazy because,
And look, the black community needs to get this shit out of their head that the white community, the white men, are these knights in shining armor that go out and are willing to put their life on the line for anyone and everyone that has a vagina.
well,
Because it's not true.
Triller, you gotta understand, man. Like, this is the piece. This is the contention piece. This is the contention piece of where we're at, man.
And that's why I'm here to help break that. I'm here to tell you.
Right. This is the piece of where we're at. Whereas to when we're hearing people say, hey, like regardless of whatever happens, men, because I'm gonna be wrapping this up for this part. I want to look at in like an hour or two, the piece. I want to redo it with you about the talking point about women about porn, and is that cheating? I feel like we're
Yes,
gonna have. Hmm?
yeah, because I couldn't get no engagement on that one when I did it last night.
I'm down to do that. I'm down to redo that.
And it's hard for one person to give their opinion and have it. You can only talk about it on your aspect for so long.
So let's wrap this. Let's shut this down, guys. And then after that, we're going to definitely attack this. I have to go ahead and put the kids down to bed.
All right. If you want, I'll let you build. I'll let you steal the thumbnail I made yesterday too for it.
No. We're doing it on your channel, and we're going to share it on mine. So,
Okay.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. This is BMT along with Trailhood. You can catch Trailhood Voodoo Ninja on his channel. Check my brother out. I got to start putting him in. I gotta implement him into the descriptions and everything, so that way y'all know to go to his channel. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Y'all have a good day.
Hey, hold on a second before you take off, because I got a question I got to ask you.
Go ahead.
I got somebody who has a small business that offered to sponsor my channel for a couple months to see if it'll help get him some revenue.
Right.
And I was wanting to know what kind of tier program I should implement